we are using 2 working channels for the therapeutic. So this one is, I think we have only we have in Uganda. Yeah, so we are using for the therapeutic because we are doing the all therapeutic procedures. This one also around 70 million around there. And we have a side duodenoscope for ERCP. Yeah. This is a side duodenoscope. You see, the lens is side. So this is for ERCP, for the biliary system or pancreatic system. This is not very expensive. This is like 50 million, 55 million, like that. And then we are doing the standard disinfection process. This is the auto washer for the endoscope. So this one, so we put before putting into the machine, we wash by the hand the channel or the working side well, and we connect with the machine. And then this one has a cycle, initially washing, rinse, and then by the air pushing. And we are using the SHAIDAT because this is not sterile, this is the high quality disinfection. So we use the SHAIDAT and then again rinse and air, and we dry well. So we are using 2 machines, yes.
Our first patient is a 20-year-old man who vomits blood frequently and also suffers from persistent inflammation.
So this 32-year-old man vomited blood 4 times. In medical term, we are saying the hematemesis. So they transfused 4 units from the medical ward and consulted us to do upper GI endoscopy. So we will find out what was the exact cause for the vomiting blood. Okay? Yeah.
Under Dr. Cheng's deft guidance, tissue samples are taken to test for pyrorine, an inflammatory marker whose early detection can alter the course of treatment.
So this 32-year-old man vomited blood 4 times. In medical term, we are saying the hematemesis. So they transfused 4 units from the medical ward, and then they consulted us to do upper GI endoscopy. So we will find out what was the exact cause for the vomiting blood. Okay? So this is the vocal cord. So our endoscope is the cutting edge endoscope, high technology. So we are using the water pump also, water injection, like this. So esophagus was okay, and then this is the junction between esophagus and stomach. Now the junction has some mild inflammation. The line is not very clear, so we are calling it reflux esophagitis minimal change. So this fluid is mixed with the bile and then gastric juice. You can see the greenish, right? Yes. There is the gastric juice and then bile from the liver. Okay. So this is the stomach, the part of the antrum and pylorus. And then you can see the nodularities, right?
Oh.
Like a chicken skin.
Yes, I can.
So this is caused by usually by the Helicobacter pylori infection. And we are entering the duodenum. Okay, this is the duodenum. There is some inflammation plus. So this is the duodenum second portion. Very inflamed, however, I can see the ulcer. Because he vomited blood. So there is inflammation in the first portion. You can see.
Yes, I can see.
Yes, this is the first portion. However, I can see the duodenal rear ulcer. Okay, so now we are observing the stomach more, and this is the lesser curvature side.
All right.
I did a J-turn.
All right.
We are observing. I think this mucosa, when you vomit it, is entrapped to the esophagus. That's why the erythematous change happens. You understand that?
Okay.
So this is the image. So this is the gastroesophageal junction. I did J-turn, and there is the scope.
Okay.
You can see the inflammation here also, and then you can see the reddish line.
Sure.
Yeah, we are calling it hyperlamic strain or streaks. That is superficial gastritis. So this reddish inflammation is the one we did the J-turn. So we took the tissue from stomach, the antrum, and the body. Two tissue we put, and if Helicobacter pylori has a urease, so it changes the color from yellow to red.
Great.
So this 34-year-old female examined by the CT scan, and they suspect the ascending colon, right side colon mass. So they want us to do colonoscope and see the tumor is there or not, and to do biopsy, because usually the cancer diagnosis is confirmed by histology examination.
Next, a routine colonoscopy unearths multiple swellings, critical clues that will dictate the next phase of her care. For patients like Jacqueline, the clinic's empathetic approach is as vital as its advanced tools.
Okay, so we did this patient previously. She had 2 esophageal mass. So after diagnosis, and we did endoscopic mucosal resection and then endoscopic submucosal resection. This is shows. So there was a mass here, and another one is there. So we removed by endoscopy. So you can see the margin was clear. So it was last year, December. So today we followed up the reason. Okay.
So the follow-up is also with an endoscopy?
Yes. So you see. So this is the esophagus. It's okay. This is the esophagus. So we are observing. So this is the first scar we removed by the endoscopic mucosal resection. 27 centimeters from upper incisor, because the measurement of length is very important. We are doing the standardization. And then another scar, you can see another scar?
Yes.
This is the 30 centimeters from upper incisor, and it was big. So after resection, we apply the clip 5. So usually clip after healing is going off. However, this one still remain. This one with passing time, this one will go off. So there was no recurrence. It's very healed very well, no more mass. So both were very okay. Yeah, that is the result. However, you have some mild inflammation in the junction between esophagus and stomach. So sometimes you feel the heartburn, right? Yes, that's why. So, yes, so yes, so important thing is you need to reduce taking coffee, chocolate, alcohol, and then yes, and then after taking meal, especially dinner, don't take lying position within 3 hours. So when you take the dinner and when you take the lying position, sometimes some loose area allows to go of the food materials and the gastric juice. And then you are feeling the heartburn. And then after waking up, you are feeling some feeling of the foreign body sensation and the hoarseness. Those ones goes like that. And another thing is, so your duodenum was okay. This is your stomach. When you see there is some reddish line and there's some erythema there, and then some small wound, okay? So those small wounds, it looked not bad. However, for confirmation, I took the biopsy and we'll see the result. So we need to see, is it just the normal inflammation only or some bad cell there? So I took biopsy like that and we'll see the result. Usually it'll take 3 working days, yes. And I'll give some medication also, okay? Okay. After taking biopsy, I confirmed the normal bleeding. I injected some epinephrine injection, yes.
I'm called Adong Jacqueline. The first time I came here, I was feeling so bad. I was feeling a lot of, like my throat is blocked and I cannot also sleep. When I eat something, I feel like throwing it out. Even water, they have been telling me it's ulcers. But some doctor advised me to come here for endoscopy. When I came here, I have to sit when my chest is up so that I can breathe well. Now, they booked me. After a week, I came back. They did the endoscopy and checked. They found that I have a mass, and there were 2. In the esophagus. Yes. One was big, one was a bit smaller, and the bigger one is the one blocking the way for food. I was not okay. I was not eating. I lost weight. After the operation, they did the operation after a week after the checkup. After the checkup, operation, I came back here, they did the operation. I went back home. I stayed for like 2 weeks taking black tea. After taking black tea, I started taking a little bit of porridge. Then after that, I started taking soup.
During that time, you don't take any serious food?
No.
Solid food?
No.
Just liquids?
Liquids. It was not easy. It was not easy. I had a lot of pain after the operation. Then, like after a month, I started feeling better, but the weight was not okay. I was very small. After 2 months, I started gaining. I started feeling better. I can even walk alone. I was not walking alone.
Right.
This was a good doctor. He did a very good job on me, and I appreciate it.
His journey underscores a simple truth. Technology may open new frontiers, but compassion guides the way.
Mwezi gw'omwenda n'ogw'ekkumi nali siba mulamu. Naye wallahi Mungu yayisiza ku musajja oyo. Omusajja yanziza mu sweta emirundi egi nga bigaana. Naye nga gwazzaayo nga zirandinga oluti bwe lunene kati ambaso ojja kudda enkulu. tugende naye nga kyenda kiganya okuleeta ngaobulumi buluma okufa obufi naye Mungu n'asaasira omusajja nannongoosa bulungi nnyo n'abaana abawala abo nga bodde batulina bo tunyumya abo nga bakola omulimu gw'amaanyi nnyo. Mungu mbeebaza abawa obuwangazi obulungi ababeere nti nno omulimu gwe bakola Mungu abateeremu okwagala ng'omusajja osinga sino twali twagala nga abasajja abazungu abo bakolagana omuntu nga baagala obulamu bw'omuntu twandibadde mutuufu tetuukirwa tubaako kufa nnyo naye Mungu abasaasira abasajja n'omusajja okyanga Mungu amusaasire amutuwangaalize mu Uganda mutugere nga tukyalina abasajja abo nga bano bakumi Mungu asobozese yarabbi tubeerewo.
Precision is nothing without care. These nurses are the clinic's heartbeat, ensuring each patient moves from anxiety to assurance. From the endoscopy tip to healing hands, this partnership unit exemplifies what's possible when nations unite around a shared goal, saving lives, restoring dignity.
We usually use the two kinds of solution. So first one is PEG solution, polyethylene glycol. So we usually give the 2 liter. So they are taking 1 liter over 1 hour slowly and add 500 cc water, and then they will start the diarrhea 1 hour or 2 hours later. We usually start around 6 p.m. the day before. And the second dose, same amount in the 5 a.m. or 6 a.m. on the day. So polyethylene glycol. Another one we can use the sodium phosphate solution. It is called here ColoPrep. So we use the PEG solution or sodium phosphate solution. And then usually the function is it draws the water into the colon, and then it starts diarrhea. And because if the stool is there, we can't observe well. So. Patient can have epigastric pain or abdominal pain or heartburn or sometimes nausea, vomiting, bloating, dyspepsia. Those things indicate for the apogea or the vomiting blood. And another thing is the passing blood like hematochezia or the constipation, and then bowel habit change. It means the previously bowel came with a good caliber. However, recently the stool caliber is narrowed like a pencil-like or something, and then some patient can have a constipation. In this situation, we need to confirm those constipation is not caused by mechanical cause like a tumor or luminal narrowing, or patient has a diarrhea or something. We need to do colonoscopy. And then for the ERCP, if a patient has a periumbilical pain radiating to the backside, or patient has a LOI, which is called jaundice, those things are indication. Or patient has a itching sensation, yes, those things. For example, for the colorectal cancer, about 70% colorectal cancer comes from polyp, small polyp. And when you take it, the histology says adenoma. That means with some bad cells. So from those adenoma to the carcinoma, those sequence, adenoma, carcinoma, the sequence explains 70% colorectal cancer. That means when they do regular screening or do endoscope, 70% colorectal cancer can be preventable. Okay. Or we can detect very early stage and the outcome is very good. And apogea endoscope also here, esophageal cancer are very many than the stomach cancer. So when they feel some discomfort, when they visit, we can do early detect, and we can do treat by the endoscopically. Yes. However, usually the problem is Ugandan patient show up to the hospital very late. Usually when they can't eat well, when they can't swallow well, or when they vomit, and when they can't pass the stool, or they have intestinal obstruction. So they need to be alert about the symptom. When they visit earlier, it's very easy to be treated. And then those things will decrease the total medical cost actually.
UBC, inspiring Uganda.
Very good evening to you all and welcome to UBC News Tonight, this Tuesday, the 3rd day of March 26. But first, let's have a look at our top stories. Tonight, President Museveni launches Tamini Insurance that guarantees borrowing without interest. Minister of Internal Affairs says Middle East war could cause Uganda economic losses. Minister of Lands to invest in constructing decent and affordable houses next financial year. And in sports, I&M Bank Katogo Golf Series launched and received a 769 million shillings boost. Hello there and welcome once again. We are coming to you live online and on air from Broadcasting House here on Nile Avenue. On sign language, it is Sanyamo Yusuf and I am Rukidi Edward Kijanangoma. President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni has pledged to boost Muslim women economically since they contribute to Uganda's development. He was launching the Tamini General Insurance in Kampala, where he welcomed the initiative that completes the cycle of saving and borrowing without interest. We have more in this story.
Takibur! Takibur! He's appreciating you, the Salam Bank.
No, I will summarize, don't worry.
Okay.
Mmanyi nti eno enkola ya busalamu bwokka naye ffe banansangwawo tukimanyi nti enkola yaffe ey'edda ey'obujjajja abanyankwere bagitanga omukwato. Omuntu yakuweerezanga ente n'omudize ente awatali magoba. N'olwekyo ffe aba wano eno enkola si mpya. Empya yeri enkola ey'obunyunyusi ey'amagoba n'okusingira ddala amagoba gayitiridde. PDM twakyogerako PDM temuli magoba naye nakyogerako n'abasheeke ne mbagamba nti nze kyendaba wano mu PDM kujuliza esente zireme okusabulukuka, inflation. Twagala nti esente ezibadde zigula ekikopo kya kawa omwaka guno n'omwaka ogujja oba okyafuna kufuna ekikopo kya kawa, omuzungu kyayita inflation, esente okusabulukuka obudde bwe buyitawo. Kati ebigambo ebibiri okutereka n'okwewola biri mu Salam Bank. Njagala kubebaza, mwebale nnyo. I am saying that saving and borrowing without interest is in Salam Bank. And I thank you for bringing that formula here.
Enkulaakulana mu kisange ekipya.
Amina.
President, tukwagala nnyo ng'Abayisiraamu ba Uganda.
Amina.
Tukwenyumirizaamu nga bannayuganda.
Amin.
Tukwenyumirizaamu ng'abazzukulu.
Amin.
Weebale kutwagalira Adija Namyalo.
Amin.
Oyo yekka gwe tutunuulidde ly'eriiso lyaffe.
Amin.
Mwongere ekisanja.
Addala.
Omwongere emirimu.
Allah.
Kubanga akyalina amaanyi.
Amina.
Ate akyasobola okutuusa gye tuli.
Amina.
Tukyalina obwesigwa gy'ali.
Amina.
President.
Now, the Ministry of Internal Affairs has said there could be a likely economic loss Uganda may incur as a result of the ongoing war in the Middle East. The ministry's spokesperson, Simon Peter Mundei, says several flights have already been cancelled, which affects the country's foreign exchange earnings.
The ongoing conflict between the US, Israel and Iran has disrupted air travel, freezing movements and affecting flights across the Arab world and its partners. Several countries have cancelled flights over safety concerns for their travelers.
Inayoweza kutumia kulenga vituo vya kijeshi vya Marekani katika eneo.
Yeah, that war I think affects everybody. It is going to affect everybody. Well, it is affecting. The other day there were flights that were supposed to leave in Entebbe to go to UAE, for instance, to go to Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, but they were denied their airspace, so they returned.
Uganda is among the countries affected by the crisis in the Middle East, with several flights cancelled, visas extended, and incoming tourists negatively impacted.
I told one of the airlines, Dubai, Fly Dubai, was in the process of preparing to land in Dubai, and they were told that the airspace there had been closed. So they rotated and came back to Entebbe with the passengers.
Travelers whose flights were cancelled have been urged to take their passports to the immigration offices to correct cancellation records and avoid future inconveniences.
In this circumstance, what happens? What does the immigration system read? We have cleared you in our system and stamped you out to UAE, and in the actual sense you have not dropped to the other side. You will return to immigration, we shall cancel that record. When you return the passport, we shall cancel that departure record. Because if we don't, then it is going to affect you in future. Somebody will say, you left Entebbe, what happened? Explain. You left Entebbe on the 3rd March, and then where did you land? You didn't land anywhere. Is that possible? No. So you'll be disturbed with visa applications for the future.
The current situation in the Middle East has also forced potential travelers, both inbound and outbound, to extend their visas. Meanwhile, the Directorate of Citizenship and Immigration Control has clarified the countries Ugandans can travel to visa-free. In some destinations, travelers are required to present a return ticket and proof of hotel booking.
And those countries include Malaysia, include Bahamas, include Belize, Botswana, Botswana, Burundi, Comoros. You just buy ticket, you book accommodation, and you are good to go. Democratic Republic of Congo.
In other countries, Ugandan travelers can apply for and obtain visas without payment.
A traveling public should first Google about the country where they are going. Now, in the case of Ireland, you visit their visa portal and you are required to apply for visa. They will ask you for the requirements which you will find online. And these requirements are not as tedious, not as many, not as very difficult as it is in other visa-prone countries. So you fulfill these requirements and you are good to go. But then you do not pay for that visa. We call it visa-nil countries, and that is Singapore.
In South Africa and the UAE, government negotiations have secured visa-free arrangements for diplomats only, although there are discussions for similar privileges to ordinary passport holders. Abdul Nasser Lobwama for UBC.
The Chief Corporate Affairs Officer at the Uganda National Oil Company, Tony Otoa, says that Ugandans should not speculate about a possible fuel shortage or price instability. The response comes amidst the growing conflict in the Middle East between Israel, Iran and the United States of America. Uganda National Oil Company manages the government's commercial interests in the petroleum sector. Odulo Anulmak reports.
Over potential fuel supply shortages. There is growing speculation over potential fuel supply shortages due to the developments in the Middle East. But government has assured the public that there will be sufficient fuel products to meet the country's demand.
With our ginger storage terminal, which is a 30 million litre capacity terminal, we have other avenues for bringing in this fuel despite the terminal, but also we have private investors who have bigger terminals than the ginger storage terminal like Mahati that are supporting with making sure that we have enough stock in the country.
Global markets are closely watching developments in the Gulf region, which also raises questions about Uganda's dependence on routes linked to the Strait of Hormuz.
So we've not only been relying on the Middle East, and with our partner Vito, who's an international partner, we've been sourcing from different markets around the world. So India, Singapore are those immediate ones, but of course the Americas also provide an option. And whether this will impact on the pricing, that I can't say for certain right now, because it's a global conversation. All of these are, trends within the markets, and if you've been following the market trends, you can see some bit of fluctuation in pricing. So I can't speak certainly for that, but what I know is that the markets are available, or where we can get this product are available to be able to sustain the demand in the country.
Asked whether the current situation would accelerate strategic storage expansion, refinery development, or domestic production timelines, Otoa reiterated government's commitment to strengthen national energy security under existing petroleum supply frameworks.
I think with or without this crisis, we were already accelerating these strategic storage options. Kampala Storage Terminal, which is a 320 million litre capacity terminal, is already underway. We are already doing the early parts of the whole, development of that whole, storage facility. We have the expansion of the ginger storage terminal, adding another 10 million litres. So that already goes to show you that the government or UNOC is very keen on making sure that we have these facilities available for us within the next 3 to 4 years to be able to deal with such shocks.
Uganda consumes an average of 7 million litres of fuel per day, imported by the Uganda National Oil Company on behalf of government alongside other private sector stakeholders. Private sector suppliers have been discouraged from hoarding fuel, with authorities warning that such practices could lead to losses, as the government intends to maintain stable and consistent supply across the country. Wadulo Arnold Mark for UBC.
Now, Uganda has a housing deficit of 2.6 million units to accommodate Ugandans, with majority of the population staying in slum areas. While appearing before the Public Accounts Committee of Parliament to answer queries in the Auditor General's report, the Permanent Secretary, Minister of Lands, Housing and Urban Development, Dorcas Okalanye, said government is to next financial year prioritize investing in constructing for Ugandans decent and affordable houses.
The Permanent Secretary, Dorcas Okalanye, led officials from the Ministry of Lands, Housing and Urban Development and appeared before the Public Accounts Committee to answer queries in the Auditor General's report for year ending 30th June 2025. Committee members said government needs to come up with a deliberate plan to ensure Ugandans have decent housing, since many stay in slum areas.
Housing. And remember, if we leave it to move on like this, in the future, you might not even afford, because land becomes expensive every time, every day that goes by.
The budget cost circular, which I have now, they have given us 8 billion to be able to guarantee the private sector who are willing to come in to assist us.
It would be more wise that you put money in the National Housing Corporation now, instead of throwing money now to the private sector.
The Commissioner Housing, Minister of Lands, says they have not got the substantive amount to invest in slum redevelopment.
But we have done a number of slum profiling. We have the information on the nature and the extent of the slums, but we need adequate capital investment in this area.
The Permanent Secretary, Minister of Lands, Dorcas Okalanye, said there is a need for affordable housing for Ugandans since people migrate from rural areas.
We are now growing at a very fast rate and we cannot deny people houses. And since most people are moving from the rural areas to the urban areas, we have recognized this need as a priority and government has put emphasis on it. From next year, we are going to see houses coming up.
Going to low-cost housing. Are you sure that tomorrow the people you are building these houses for in Kasokoso will be the beneficiaries? At the end of the day, it will be us who will go to buy those houses. And the people you are building for will go and create another slum.
On the audit queries, committee squeezed the entity for diverting 46 billion shillings to compensate ranchers' outstanding domestic areas.
Funds were rightly spent on the intended purpose, and an adjustment of UGX 46.86 billion was made on the domestic areas to net off the settled bills.
To me, I find the explanation not satisfying. You should be held responsible for that mischarge and spending without appropriation.
Fund is meant to settle outstanding ranches obligation were put on a compensation item instead of a domestic areas item.
During the year under review, the ministry was given 8 billion shillings to pay outstanding domestic areas.
Do not sit there in your offices and give yourselves power to spend without the powers of Parliament and the instrument that gives you rights and directives to spend in your entity.
The 8 billion. Ask them to parade before you the schedule of the intended beneficiaries and then how they chose the ones they paid.
Okay. The committee has also sustained a query where officials failed to explain details of the Hoima Oil Refinery Proximity Area project. I'm Nafka Farida and Gloria Gwitabinji at Parliament.
Now, former government spokesperson based at the media center here in Kampala, Ofono Opondo, has told UBC that the next speaker cannot be outside the NRM party. Opondo is an MP-elect for the elderly in the 12th Parliament and debunks media reports that the NRM party could front DP's Norbert Mao as the next speaker based on the cooperation agreement.
The speakership race for the 12th Parliament has attracted political attention, with the Democratic Party President Norbert Mao involved. The bar has been raised further.
One, I've written a letter to
to the national chairman of the National Resistance Movement, who is also the president of Uganda.
Norbert Mao draws confidence from his recent political relationship with the NRM party, especially President Yoweri Museveni.
You know, if I have your check, that means you made a promise to me. A check is called a promissory note. And it has nothing to do with me because I don't sign your check for you. You are the one who signs it.
Mao goes further to state that the contents of the agreement with the NRM can only be understood by him and President Yoweri Museveni.
So you, the great analysts on social media, TikTok, and veranda politicians, let us remember that the objective is to unchain Parliament.
UBC TV had an exclusive with the former government mouthpiece Ofono Opondo on the dynamics of the political agreement between NRM and DP.
I don't see how NRM can give somebody who has 6 members, who has really taken his party to a ditch. Nobody Mao has taken DP to a ditch. Yes, he has some cooperation agreement with President Museveni, but I don't think that's sufficient. There's nothing Norbert Mao is bringing new on the table.
So what could be the contents of the political understanding between the two parties?
It is Mao who has said so. My principal from the NRM, Mr. Yoweri Museveni, the chairman of NRM, the president of Uganda, has not told me, I have not heard him say anywhere that these are the 1, 2, 3, 4 elements in the cooperation agreement with Mr. Mao. So Mao may be, and you remember the president has actually rebuked Mao when he talked about peaceful transition.
So who is fooling whom?
Article 7E of the agreement says, this agreement will evolve as the term of government progresses, including through opening up potential additional areas of cooperation. So we now want to cooperate to get Uganda the best possible Speaker of Parliament.
I think Mao is fooling himself. But also, Mao himself has said peaceful transition, election reforms. It is now 3.5 years since Mao has been minister. Where are the election reforms? Where's the law on the so-called peaceful transition?
Norbert Mao is the Minister for Justice and Constitutional Affairs, a position that came after the MOU with the NRM to enhance the democratic space in Uganda. Could it be that Mao has gone overboard to seek NRM's support in the speakership race?
Apparently now he's not satisfied with the ministry. He wants to start picking the fruits by himself. You don't come to my compound and just start picking fruits by yourself. At least you ask me, which fruit should I pick?
There was supposed to be another position. They never kept their promise.
Ofono Opondo says the idea of the NRM party to engage the opposition in a working relationship is not far from healing the political wounds of opponents.
And quite also often convincing them to show them that their political parties where they belong does not have a lot of journey, especially positive journey, compared to NRM.
When asked who the next speaker could be, Ofono Opondo had this to say.
I have lived here since the NRC days of '86. I think the current leadership in the parliament, a few mistakes here and there notwithstanding. They have steered the house. We have not, in the last 4.5 years, we have not seen scenes which make debate in the house and decision making impossible, like we have witnessed before. So I want to credit the current leadership of the house.
According to reliable information, the NRM party is set to head for a retreat in Chankwanzi to decide on the speakership position. Daniel Mugoya, Gloria Gwitabinji, UBC News.
Thanks, Dan and Gloria, for that story there. Now, the Committee on Commissions, Statutory Authorities and State Enterprises, COSASE, has summoned the departed Asians Property Custodians Board to answer operations of the board and queries associated with the Auditor's General Report for the year ended 2024. Now, this follows failure by the Executive Secretary of the board, Visible William Semakula, to account for over 3.61 billion shillings as non-recognition of long outstanding revenue receivables. We have more in this story.
The departed Asians Property Custodians Board in Uganda manages properties left behind by Asians who were expelled in 1970s. Tuesday morning, the Executive Secretary of the board with his team appeared before the COSASE Parliamentary Committee to answer their financial statements as per the Auditor's General Report for the year ended June 2024.
You know what constitutes an asset register?
Yes, Semakula, can you answer that?
Honorable Chair, going by the Act, those properties fall. Let me ask it another way.
It was highlighted that the board operates without any work plan since it last had one for the financial year 2021-2022, while releasing out properties in unlawful manner.
So what are you following now? What is guiding what you are doing now? Since you don't have a new work plan.
Some people claimed that the powers of attorney that we are using to give out properties were not theirs. A case in point, Kadabo in Canada, you gave out properties to Regine Taylor. And over 36 properties were told that you redeem and bring back.
Property and land in Uganda is owned by registration in accordance with the Land Act. So when you say that you own those properties, it should be by registration. Why didn't you use the Ugandan Commission practice?
If it was issued illegally, the process is the cancellation is by High Court. Could you throw more?
The report shows over 3 billion Ugandan shillings as non-recognition of long outstanding revenue receivables, including rental dues, amounting to 0.466 billion, noting that 56 tenants had not paid.
That man has been overdue for so many years. Some by the Ministry of Public Services. Most of it's mostly it's demanded from the Ministry of Government.
The Executive Secretary of the board cited that some tenants are government ministries.
There's a plot 1 Hoima Road. It was donated to Church of Uganda, Hoima. There is a property in Buwezu. They donated to Buwezu Town Council, local government. There is a property in Kasanda. It was donated to Kasanda district local government.
He also highlighted challenges of, among others, fraudsters and absence of board members. The committee led by Nakaseke Central Member of Parliament, Alan Mayanja, agreed and summoned the board to appear before the committee to answer queries.
So I've requested the board to come. It's chaired by the Minister of Finance, Mr. Kasaija. There are some board members like Minister for Trade, and even Salim Saleh is a board member. They are to sit every month, but the whole financial year they sat only one time, and they have to explain to us why did they accept the obligation, and at the end of it they are not fulfilling their mandate.
Rebecca Natongo, Gloria Gutabinji, Parliament.
News Tonight now takes a short break, but we'll be returning with much more. Do stay with us.
So, Muchara.
Yes, Daddy.
You know the children are going back to school and things are a bit tight. Huh? For now, why don't you take half of the fees to junior school, and for the school van contribution, we shall pay later. Huh?
Daddy, why don't we pay using MTN Momo, where we stand a chance of winning school fees for a whole year and more? By the way, you can also apply for a school fees loan, and also participating schools can win a school van.
That's right! Win school fees for a whole year and more. Get Momo goodies and a school van for participating schools. You can also apply for a school fees loan. Simply dial *165*80# or use the Momo app. It's back, bigger and with more business opportunities. It's the Pearl of Africa Tourism Expo, Poate 2026, Uganda's flagship tourism event. Poate 2026 will take place from the 21st to the 23rd of May 2026 at the Speak Resort Convention Center, Munyonyo, under the theme Wanderlust. It's your time to thrive. Yes, it's your time to tap into Uganda's renewed optimism and tourism growth. Tourism stakeholders, travel trade partners, and tourism enthusiasts will be part of the Poate 2026. Come and network with like-minded people and unlock new business opportunities. To participate, register at www.poate.co.ug. Poate 2026 is brought to you by Uganda Tourism Board and partners.
It has always been my dream to be able to work in an energy industry. I learned about this Tilenga program from a friend because ever since my childhood, I'd had a dream to be able to serve my country.
Nakashon akosara tish muko mashopotemo ne kom abedo ngate mosomongo gichigi ponjo akopiny mai bodo missing eni adong mangeye kawoni anang dong the family dinang akoso gimatimo kawoni shamu tie pacho pitotale anda pitich matimo eni kawoni atie dong kulea de dong moko tie madong abedo angeo gidong
agama warmera gamunwa nganya tsende mo ka jamira nya kabera bere pachutek ega mebine ya biranya tigara moko kai achako temi kaona benong nya tsende mo ko nya swa kume niketo ka undong kwodo ko masho shon ko bedo tek dengan sama kwodo ko masho niketo wanena loka palembele ka undo.
We know that regarding the theoretical aspect, they have a lot of professors, etc. But what in TPA we are sharing is mainly our experience in the oil and gas industry.
The knowledge acquired will help me because it's connecting to the geophysics, the course I'm currently taking.
I feel like this information is so essential for me because if I go into the field, I feel like I need to first know, go there, take some data here and there, then I come back for the processing.
Welcome back, and this is UBC News Tonight, and thank you so much for having kept us company till this moment. Moving on now, women rights activists under their umbrella organization, Women Organization Network for Human Rights Advocacy, WONETA, have called upon institutions responsible for protecting human rights to stop violating the rights of women during arrests. This was during a press conference at Machindye as Uganda gears up for International Women's Day celebrations due March 8th this year.
Various challenges. For example, there is increased stigma and discrimination even in healthcare systems. When you go to public health facilities, we are stigmatized and we are discriminated there. It is because we are seen as criminals. We have engaged different stakeholders. We have engaged the lawmakers, the